Friends, this is Zubair of Qureshi again with a new lecture, and today we will see what this next component is. And so we have covered the switch, the router, and wireless access point, and the controller. And now next is the very important building block of our network, that is the network firewalls and IPS. You might have heard about firewalls. We have firewalls in our system. Those are like software firewalls, but what I'm talking about is network firewalls. They are the dedicated appliances from companies like Cisco, Checkpoint, Palo Alto, FortiGate. So they have their appliances inbuilt with firewall capabilities, and these have the next gen capabilities as well. I'll try to explain in a brief that what firewalls do and what they are used for in our network. So as you know that these routers are typically based on software, right? They run on software, they are feature rich, and they can also do the firewall like the things that a firewall does, but not in that speed and not in that capacity, right? So the thing is say for example, you take yourself, right? Or I can take myself, that I can service my car, I can change the engine oil, right? I can change the tires, I can do whatever I want. But the thing is, the mechanic, okay, the guy who does the servicing, right, he is an expert. I may not be able to do uh, as perfect as that guy would do the thing. So this is like, let the device do what they are doing at its best. So router is meant for routing, right? So firewall is meant to do things like blocking and allowing traffic. You know, that's what firewall is meant to do. Even I'll tell you a big difference between the router and the firewall is that the first thing is, let me grab my pen, guys. Okay, sorry. So I'll delete this. I'll just delete this also. Erase. Okay, so let me grab my pen. So the thing is, you have seen a router, right? So we have a router, and this router, what's the main thing of the router is, it by default it allows everything. By default allows everything. So if it has a route to reach someone, it will not block it, it will send the traffic, right? So we need to explicitly block the traffic that we want, right? In case of routers, right? So we have access list here, access control list, which has ACEs, access control entries, that we will use to block the traffic that we don't want the router to forward, right? So by default, what the router does is, it if it knows about the network and any traffic comes to the router, it will send the packet to that destination address if it knows the destination address, right? But in case of firewall's default behavior is block everything, and allow explicitly. So implicitly it denies every traffic coming to the firewall. So for example, we have the firewall, we have the LAN segment, we have a switch inside, okay? So, and outside we have the internet connected, or maybe before that you can have router, and or this firewall can also do routing and all. But the main purpose of the firewall is to block traffic, and whatever we want that needs to be allowed, we have to explicitly set poke holes in the firewall. So this traffic should come in, this traffic should go out, and certain traffic should be denied. So that's the working of a firewall, right? And it can be in two modes. One is transparent mode, and the other one is routed mode. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So the thing is, if there are many scenarios in our network, right? So uh, let's say that we have a requirement wherein what we can do is, uh, let me grab the cursor. Okay, so for example, say that, uh, so guys, let's say that we have in our environment we have a switch, okay, which is connected to, okay, uh, so this is actually wrong. Switch cannot have a serial port. Okay, so let's say this is connected to a router. Okay, so for example, this is connected to a router, and then again it's connected to the internet, right? So this is the case, and now what we want is, we want that we should have a firewall inside our a company, right? But the people inside should not know about it, or we don't want it to placed in such a way that we have to do a lot of configuration changes inside our corporate network, right? So what we do is we put the firewall as a transparent mode. So what you can literally do is, you can literally slide in the firewall here. So I can just okay, let me just delete this. So what we will do is, next is, for that thing, what we can do is, okay, let me draw again. This is the internet. Okay, then what we can do is, we have a connection and we put the firewall here. Okay, firewall here, and then again it goes to the switch. Okay, and then you can connect the LAN from here. Okay, whatever devices you have the PC, you have the servers. Okay, you have APs, you can have APs like that. Okay, you can have APs, right? So then what happens is, you don't need to change this segment IP addressing. So you don't need to do any changes here or here. You just need to slide in the firewall in between the router and the switch, and it starts working. You can block the traffic, you can allow the traffic, you can see what's happening inside your corporate network, what type of traffic is going in and out from your network, right? So this is the transparent mode. It works in L2, it works on layer 2, right? So next is the routed mode, where you can use the firewall as a router. So it can do routing, it can understand the protocols like RIP, OSPF, EIGRP, even BGP. So that's the thing that it does in L3 mode. Okay, so in L3 mode, the firewall will do the routing as well, and the firewall this task as well. So that's it with the modes of the firewall. And next would be the uh, okay, next in my slide is allow and deny statefully. What does that mean? So for example, now now say here we have the okay, we have the LAN people here sitting, right? So they want to go out to the internet and say Google, they want to go to google.com, right? So the thing is, there is something on the firewall that's called the zones, or the security levels. Okay, so for example, the inside, you can set it to something safe 100, and outside you can set it to 0. So what the firewall does in a stateful mode is that you whenever the traffic is coming from the higher security zone or the trusted zone, it will allow the traffic to go through it. Okay, and while coming back, it will allow the same traffic, the reverse traffic actually. So for example, you have a machine B that wants to go to Google, so the traffic would be like B, source would be B. Okay, source is B went to destination Google, right? So you have a connection table created inside the firewall wherein the the opposite traffic, that is the opposite, that is Google to B, so that is dynamically created there. So when the return traffic comes back, Google, the source now would be Google going to B, destination B, right? That is inside. So the traffic will be allowed dynamically. That is called stateful firewall. Whereas stateless is in case of your routers, you need to have ACLs for those traffic, right? For outside traffic as well as inside traffic, you need ACLs, you need to permit the traffic. That is called the stateful inspection of the firewall. And guys, you had the first generation, second generation, third generation of firewall. So generations is like, first generation would be like your router. You can have router act as a packet filtering firewall, wherein you can filter the packet based on the source and destination of IP addresses, right? Next was the second generation, where you could use the port numbers. You could use the port numbers also. So particular application going to particular server on particular port, you can block it, you can deny it, right? You can permit it as well. So that's the second generation. And the third generation is, it works on application level, so layer 7. So now the firewall is getting smarter day by day. They know what application is inside your packet. They can look inside your payload, and they can look inside your application. Say the attack is like, it looks like an HTTP packet, right? It looks like an HTTP packet from outside, but from inside it's masked and it's an attack. So it's an attack. Okay, it's a DDoS attack, something like that. So the firewall has the capability now to look inside the packet, what is inside. So ultimately it knows it's an attack. Okay, fine, deny. That's how the next gen firewall work. They have something like app ID. So it's like updated on cloud. Like time to time it's updated, the database is updated through the cloud services. So the firewall knows the latest vulnerabilities in your what do you say, system, and in your network, what could cause problems. You have content ID, so you can block some features inside a web. Like you can see that you can open Facebook, right? You can open Facebook, but you cannot what do you say, you cannot open videos inside Facebook. So that is how the content ID works. So app ID works, right? So that is the next generation firewall. It has capabilities of IPS, intrusion prevention system, right? What intrusion prevention system does is, you have your LAN, right? You have your LAN. So IPS has something called signatures. So it looks onto those signatures, and it actually understands the pattern that is happening inside your network. Okay, and when something different out of the pattern happens, it can block, or it can produce a log that this has happened, something has happened and all. Or it can even block the traffic, it can deny the traffic that is away from the pattern. So it has signatures. Again, it's dynamically updated from the cloud. The signatures are getting updated time to time, and the IPS gets to know that this signature is having some like bugs or something that can harm the network, right? So it denies it dynamically. So first, in previous days, what Cisco used to do is, they used to have dedicated appliances for IPS. You can see this is a Cisco IPS 4240, right? But nowadays what can happen is, inside the ASA, so see, this is an ASA from Cisco, this is a firewall from Cisco. So inside the ASA you can get modules which can run the service, so IPS. So you don't need to get a separate appliance that works as what you say, as the IPS, right? So you can have a firewall as well as it can work as an IPS. So Nowadays you have many firewall vendors, like you have Checkpoint, right? It can provide you services of the firewall services, obviously firewall services, and then it can work as the IPS, many things. You have the um, WSA, web security appliance, ESA, right? Email security appliances. So this is the next gen where all these things are clubbed into one pack, right? This is Palo Alto providing the next gen services. Even we have Cisco's FTD, Firepower Threat Defense, providing the next gen services, right? So these are the next gen firewalls, guys. And hope you understood all the basic review of the firewall, and hope to see you again in my next video. And if you like the content of the video, please do like my videos and do subscribe to my channel. And if you have any doubts, please do ping me in the comments and ask me for the particular doubt, and I'll try my best to give you answers regarding those doubts and try to explain it to you better. Okay guys, thank you, bye bye.